Hey everyone, and welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Definitely. Always ready to dig into some fascinating business strategies.
Well, today we're taking a close look at GrandVision.
Oh, yeah. GrandVision, now they're a big player in the eyewear industry.
Yeah, we're talking huge. Over 40 countries, 7,000 stores, 33 brands.
Wow, that's a lot of glasses.
They're not just selling glasses, though. They're really shaping how people see, literally.
True. And we've got some great sources to help us understand how they're doing it.
Yeah.
We've got this case study from thebigmarketing.com.
Awesome. And we've also got a video interview with one of their top execs, a VP, I think.
Nice. That should give us some good insights.
For sure. So our mission today is to figure out how GrandVision is blending their digital savvy with the in-person experience to become the place to go for all things eyewear.
Sounds like a plan. And you know what's really interesting is that GrandVision seems to get something really important.
Oh, what's that?
That more than half of their customers actually start their journey online. Yeah, they're researching, browsing, before even thinking about going to a physical store.
Ah, so they're not just waiting for people to walk in the door. They're meeting customers right where they are.
Exactly, in that digital research phase.
Smart move.
It is?
Okay, so imagine this. It's like 9:30 at night. You finally got the kids to bed.
Yeah.
You're catching up on emails, maybe having a glass of wine, and suddenly, bam, you're adding a new pair of glasses to your online shopping cart.
Happens to the best of us, right?
Right. And GrandVision, they noticed a huge spike in e-commerce orders around this time, between 9 and 10 p.m.
Interesting.
So what does that tell us about how people are shopping for eyewear these days?
Well, I think it's a sign of the times. We're all busier than ever, and sometimes those late evenings, that's the only time we have to ourselves.
Yeah, to actually browse and, treat ourselves.
Exactly. And it's almost like eyewear is becoming this impulse buy, something you grab while you're unwinding.
That's so interesting because it means that businesses have to be ready. They've got to be available 24/7.
Right, to capture that late night shopper.
But it's not just about being online, though, is it?
No, it's about being smart about it.
So they're not ditching their stores completely, are they?
No, not at all.
It's more like they're weaving them into this whole digital experience.
Yes, exactly.
So how does that work?
Well, think of it this way. You're scrolling through Instagram, and you see an ad for some cool new frames.
Okay, I can see where this is going.
You click through your browse styles, and you can even book an eye exam at your nearest GrandVision store.
All from your phone?
All from your phone.
Wow.
And then later, maybe you decide to buy online, or you pop back into the store for that personal fitting.
Ah, so they've got all the bases covered.
It's all connected.
I like it. They meet you wherever you are in your eyewear journey.
Precisely. And the VP in that video, he talked about this impatience trend he's seeing.
Oh, yeah, people wanting things quickly.
Right, but still valuing a real human experience for certain things.
For sure. Like, I'm not going to buy a couch without trying it out first.
Exactly. And same with glasses. You want to make sure they fit right, look good on your face.
It's got to be the right look,
It does, it does. So it's really about finding that balance.
Yeah, between that instant gratification and those human moments that build trust.
Exactly.
Okay, so they've got the smooth online experience, but they also recognize that there's real value in having knowledgeable staff in those physical stores.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can get your eye exam, ask questions, get style advice. It's not like they're replacing humans with robots.
Not at all.
Okay, so behind the scenes, how do they actually make all of this work?
Ah, the magic behind the curtain, right?
Yeah, because juggling online orders, store appointments, all that customer data, it could get messy really fast.
It could, and this is where they use a platform called Auth0 for authentication.
Auth0, okay, now that sounds a little techy.
It does, but stay with me. Think of Auth like the VIP host at a really exclusive club.
Okay, I'm listening.
They check your ID, they make sure you're on the list, and then they give you access to everything you need.
So you're saying no more juggling a million different passwords for every website and app?
Exactly, it's all streamlined.
Nice, I like that.
So no matter how you're interacting with GrandVision, online, in-store, on your phone, Auth makes sure your data and your experience are consistent.
You can browse, book appointments, manage your account.
All without the hassle of logging in a million times.
It's all about making things easier for the customer.
That's the goal.
That's some seriously smooth tech working behind the scenes there.
It is.
And you know what else impressed me?
What's that?
It's that their partnership with Auth0 goes beyond just the tech itself.
Oh, how so?
They were really raving about Auth0's customer service and support.
Ah, see, and that's a big deal. Sometimes focusing on what you do best and finding the right partners can be way more effective than trying to do everything yourself.
Right. Kind of like GrandVision is great at eyewear, Auth is great at authentication.
They team up, and everybody wins.
Exactly. Teamwork makes the dream work.
It does, it does. And especially when those partners, they come with proven results.
Oh. You ready to hit our listeners with a big number?
Oh, always.
Lay it on us.
A Forrester study actually showed that GrandVision got a massive $11.7 million benefit from using Auth.
Wow, that's a lot of benefit.
It is. We're talking 548% return on investment and payback in under 6 months.
Now, that's the kind of efficiency that gets businesses excited.
It does. It does.
They're clearly making some really smart moves when it comes to picking their partners.
They are?
But even with all this amazing tech, they haven't forgotten about the human side of things.
Not at all, in fact.
Go.
They're actually investing heavily in data platforms to make the whole experience even more personalized.
So it's not just about having a website or an app. It's about using data to really understand what customers need.
And to tailor the experience to those needs.
It's like they're taking all this data and using it to empower their staff.
Right. Think personalized recommendations, anticipating needs.
Creating a really unique journey for each customer.
Exactly. They're not replacing human interaction with algorithms. They're using the data to make that interaction even better.
And it all circles back to meeting the customer where they are.
Both literally and figuratively.
They want to buy glasses at 9:30 p.m. on their phone. GrandVision is there. They want personalized advice from a real person.
GrandVision has that too.
It's like they've cracked the code of blending technology and humanity.
They have, and you know that's something we can all learn from.
Yeah, for sure.
Think about your own best customer experiences.
Okay.
Was it pure efficiency, or was there some kind of human connection that made it memorable?
That's a good question.
Was it someone going above and beyond to help you find something or solve a problem?
Yeah, that always makes a difference.
It does. It does. And that's the kind of magic GrandVision is trying to create.
It really is. It's a great question to think about. But before we get too philosophical,
Right.
we still have more to uncover about GrandVision's journey.
Oh, absolutely. We've only just scratched the surface.
And remember that mention of their debate about digital photography back in the early 2000s?
Oh, yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, what was that all about?
It's a fascinating story, and it really reveals a lot about how willing they are to adapt and learn from their choices.
Okay, now I'm intrigued. Let's take a closer look at that in the next part of our deep dive.
Stick around, folks. It gets even more interesting. Welcome back, everyone. So before we get back to how GrandVision is like weaving that human touch into all this tech we're talking about,
Yeah.
remember that little mention of their whole digital photography thing back in the early 2000s?
Oh, yeah, that caught my attention too from that case study. Like, were they going to try to become some big camera company?
Right. It was a big moment for them.
It must have been.
Like, picture it. 2003, digital cameras are just starting to get really popular. And GrandVision is kind of at this crossroads, you know?
Yeah.
Stick with what they know, eyewear, or jump into this whole new market.
Ooh, I bet there were some interesting conversations happening back then.
Oh, for sure.
It must have been so tempting to like ride that digital wave,
Yeah.
especially with like maybe getting a whole bunch of new customers. But
Right.
wouldn't that have meant like changing their whole strategy, their tech, everything?
Oh, absolutely. It would have been huge.
Yeah.
They had to think about all the competition out there, which was fierce.
Oh, yeah.
Like Canon, Nikon, even smartphones starting to have good cameras.
Right.
Everyone wanted a piece of that digital photography world.
For sure.
And it wasn't just about selling cameras either. It was about understanding that whole world.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's a whole different ball game.
Totally. So suddenly you're not just competing with other eyewear companies.
Right.
You're up against these massive tech companies.
Yeah. Yeah, that's intimidating.
It is. So what did GrandVision think about all of this as they were making this decision?
Yeah.
Well, they had to look at the money, of course.
Yeah. Financial side.
What would it cost to even try to compete in this new market?
Yeah. Could they even make a profit?
Exactly. And then there's the people side of things, too.
Oh, right.
Finding new partners, getting new expertise, maybe even restructuring their whole business.
It's a lot.
It is. It's like adapt or die, but with really high stakes.
So what happened? Did they take the leap?
Well, in the end, they decided to focus on what they knew best. Eyewear.
Interesting.
It was a tough choice, but they knew that their real strength was in the world of optics, you know, the science of vision, helping people see better.
Makes sense.
It does.
It's amazing how a choice from like 20 years ago can still be shaping a company today.
It really is.
Shows they were willing to explore new ideas, but also smart enough to stick with what they were good at.
Exactly. And, thinking about what they're doing now, it's like they learned some big lessons back then.
Oh, yeah.
They're not afraid of digital stuff now. They're going for it.
Mm-hmm.
But in a way that makes sense for them.
Right.
It's like they took what they learned from that whole photography thing, and they're using it now as the world of eyewear is changing.
So they didn't become the next Kodak,
Right.
but they're leading the way when it comes to digital eyewear experiences.
Exactly. It's like they took a little detour, learned some things, and came back to the main road with a much clearer idea of where they wanted to go.
I like that analogy a lot.
Right.
It's like they're not just hopping on the latest trend.
Right.
They're really thinking about how tech can make their main business better and how to improve things for their customers.
That's what it's all about.
Which brings us back to their whole thing about creating a super smooth experience for customers.
Yeah.
Remember we talked about their omni-channel strategy, how they work with auth, how they use data to personalize things.
It's impressive.
It is, but there's one big piece we haven't really talked about yet.
Oh, what's that?
It's the thing that ties everything together.
You mean like the human touch? That personal connection.
Yeah.
That can make or break the whole experience no matter how good the tech is.
Because let's be real,
Mm-hmm.
people still want to talk to other people, especially when it's about something as important as their vision.
Absolutely. So how is GrandVision balancing all this cool technology with that human element?
Yeah, how are they doing it?
That's what we'll get into next, because even in this super digital world, a smile and a helping hand can make a huge difference.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground with GrandVision.
We have their digital strategy, their smart partnerships.
Even that decision back in the day to stay focused on eyewear.
Right, but like we were saying before, technology, it's only one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, it's like you can have the best website in the world, the most amazing app.
But if the people behind it aren't invested, it's not going to work.
It's like going to a fancy restaurant with beautiful decor.
But the waiters are rude, and the food is terrible.
The experience is just ruined. So how is GrandVision making sure that the human element isn't getting lost in all this digital stuff?
Remember how the VP in the interview talked about attracting top talent?
Yeah.
Data engineers, data scientists.
They're investing in the people who can really make sense of all that data.
Exactly.
Okay, so they've got the brains behind the scenes, but what about the people who are actually interacting with customers in the stores?
That's where it all comes together. They're not replacing those skilled opticians with robots or anything.
Right.
They're using data to empower them, giving them the information and tools to provide even better service.
So it's like giving those opticians superpowers.
Kind of. Imagine walking into a store and the optician already knows what you've bought before, what styles you like.
Even your eye exam records.
They can anticipate what you need, make personalized recommendations, answer your questions confidently.
It's a totally different experience than feeling like just another face in the crowd.
It is.
It's like they're taking the best parts of the digital world
Personalization, convenience,
and combining it with that human element.
and, that's what builds loyalty.
People remember how you treat them.
They might not remember the exact model of their glasses, but they'll remember that optician who went the extra mile to help them.
So what can our listeners take away from all of this, from GrandVision's journey?
Well, think about it. Are there ways you can blend the digital and the physical to create a better experience in your business or even in your personal life?
Good question.
Could you use data to better understand your customers, your audience, even your friends?
Interesting.
And how can you empower yourself and the people around you to really make that human connection?
It's like GrandVision is showing us that technology is important, but that personal touch makes all the difference.
They're not just selling eyewear. They're selling a vision of the future.
One where technology and humanity work together.
Exactly.
So that wraps up our deep dive into GrandVision. We hope you found it insightful.
We did. It's a fascinating company.
Absolutely. And remember, embrace the power of technology, but never underestimate the importance of human connection.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Until next time, keep those minds curious and those hearts open to new possibilities.